Hello. How is everybody doing? I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm doing quite fine, man. I'm doing great. And as I say all the time, welcome to TS, man, where we tell it like it is and let the chips fall where they may. And also, one thing we say here all the time is that truth crashed to the earth shall rise again. The truth is a cocoa in the and then finally, what time is it? And you answer, yes, it's nation time. Nation time is one of the toughest, roughest, meanest fight you can ever have on yourself, say Charlie. In a country like Ghana, no, we see no matter what, we will build a nation. Let me tell you something. The forces that are arrayed against those of you who want to build a nation are enormous. And the only way you can win the war is to say no to gendarme. That's why we promise all the time that you can come with all the gendarme. We don't have much. All we have is to suffocate you with the truth. Yeah. Thank you. Well, today, folks, I'm thinking about some very interesting things. Do you know what is happening in Ghana right now? I call it the Cocoa Wars. Right now in Ghana is the Cocoa Wars. And you are in Ghana. If you say you don't know what I mean, then you are not in Ghana. Oh, Ghana Palia, you know that right now Ghana is engaged in Cocoa Wars. And here's the thing. You know, some very good things are happening in this country. Believe it or not, and I'm sure you know. Say, there are some good progress, good developments happening. But I tell you this, whether good or bad, these good things are being crowded by cocoa wars. I'm not saying cocoa is not important too. The fact is, cocoa is very important. But I'm saying the unfortunate cocoa wars is blinding this country as to what is happening. And I'm saying unfortunate cocoa wars because I think it's unfortunate. You know, great things are happening. We'll talk about that later. But no, folks, check this out. And I say this all the time. That I have the firm belief that we are heading the right direction. I have the firm belief that the indicators are all good. And I have the firm belief that if Ghanaians will stand up and all of us say together that we are one nation, one people, one destiny. So let's build this country. Charlie, the things that will happen in this country, the guys will say, which means it will surprise you. But it's not easy to get there. You know, because there's this tug of war between those who say let's get together and build this nation, and those who say, oh, forget it, let's do all we can to slow the progress down, if not to stop the progress at all. Unfortunately, between me and you, the most unfortunate thing we have is our democracy, if you will, and our partisan politics. Why am I saying they are unfortunate, folks? Because of the nature of the politics, because of the nature of the partisan politics, which has blinded all of us. It's always a tug of war between those in power and those who want to get to power. And the objective is this: if you are in power, do all you can to stay in power. If you're out of power, do all you can to come and take power. And that's the result. You know what is missing in between these two? Those who have power and those who want power. The big thing that is missing, Ghanaians, the missing link is nation building. If you want power, I understand, but come to power with the sole purpose that I am going to build a nation. If you are in power, fine. Be in power, but please let your only effort be about building this nation. If both parts can get this right, that whether for or against, whether in power or out of power, the agenda is nation building and country have better power. But it's not like that. So everything has to be a quarrel. Everything has to be a fight. Even if we can look at that same situation and correct it and come together and build a nation. No, as Satire and Toka. That's why I call it Cocoa Wars. People are like, Cocoa is Cocoa trendy, the wars. Yes, it is trending. Why? Because of the nature of our politics. Yes. This is bound to happen. So I just want you to just to show a few things. On and off, for and against. I think my good friend Miracle started a crusade about how the farmers are being cheated and me, I'm not dismissing anything. These are issues that he rose. Whether for or against there were legitimate issues that came up. I just want you to take a listen to one farmer that he spoke to just get a sense of where the farmer is coming from and where this whole issue is coming from. At the end of the day, it's all politics. But folks, let's listen to the plight of a farmer. And let's all be concerned because the farmer is not making things up. This is what he truly believes. Listen to him.
You make a trouble, Penny Mahaman say, you're 31, and another dear better one. So 5 and away year free swap, will be a new Niasem. No, where you are in an ye true against to say, a cochromotel do buy. I could never know dear, and if you're corner, and work us all, a ya, media, Massama debut. It is so percent of buying the good year, Cocoa or pound farmer 15 million. Will be adding in Niasem because so be to you or walk away a day, a full bet.
Folks, this is a Ghanaian cocoa farmer and all kind of Buswasem. This is what is on their mind. On that same cocoa issue, in the same country, Ghana, listen to another farmer and what they have to say about the same issue. Check this out.
They say I know what this was. Send ya any too much, no. And no mommy, ye hear some. We say any near see word market ya, umuto. So, no, none say cry a tell radio, no. You share any price ya. Abba says, ya now. Umu say, I'd need free best 70 so, about 40 so, no. Look, question me, a idea, a hard in a pa. Ntin Tiswane, dear. Young Cassachan Chias or Tisson Ghana, my baby, on Tisson or Tum the Ghana, my baby, or Tisson Ghana, my baby. Nip pen send into me more, and Magana man, you cuckoo send into me, because on the young channel forces say 1 year. Because you him say, a banning yenny a bonny and farm wying, a very bien who beat my yenny a bonny, a diabua bino. Goes Nura, yen Saka, it's all my best say machines in Yako, so more quack with the San Brian, fertilizer, or more catches, fertilizer, ba. Nina say, yes, Cassem. Nti best friend say eno de ye nim so ye fi say da oba ya okọ ye no mfie twam na ye hwe ne a oye no ye hu say we ye oba no wanye hwe nti na ye to aba no esade man say won samara na ne a oye ya wa nwie ni na so ade hu no me ye magana fo hu say sa aba bi wadi so ade hu che bi.
Folks, there we go. And I just don't want it to end here. I'm going to go back for you to hear more opinions of those who are very concerned about what is happening. Listen to this.
And I pay say I see our ha. Na ye nia bre papa. Ye nia so say ko. Eni adigina ha. Asa what do you hwemo? Akwanya wo fa so wo de bedi. Abani free NPP for some no. Anya sa kwan so na wo di bu o man no. What do you hwemo ankasa? Anope wa ma ye nia bre pa. Enu ti ya tun kra ka kire wo say. Se won fa ebi to so a de oba ya obeto ya no. Ba no anka.
Thank you very much. Now let's jump back here again and listen to another farmer. Folks, listen to this.
Say we a grandma so ye nyina etibise cocoa no be ba ate so. This abai betie cocoa ne so a akuafo ye nhede ni problem. Na ye problem kakra ni say kakra na akam no a ya to a abai nyamfo atika namla ye best abai say o ma say atika namla. Ye nim say abai ye odwene ne manfo ho. Ntu hwa na nema beble so atete Ndise cocoa sort ya akuafo e wa ba se ne beka.
Mre kakra ni na cocoa ni sika ne yeden e ka mu. Nti ne ye se ye na sika ne ka mu no eno kra no na ukodura fom ho kra na ne wo cocoa no so na wa ba ma abusa wo be yeden wo bete nso no se de se ya ti asempa na o se obetua ono se sika na amaye na we no wati we no so a ye de ye ni asem bi e kan.
Folks, show them, laugh for all of them. No, folks, this is why I say it's the cocoa wars. And the reason we're having this cocoa wars, we all know. Let me say 2 quick things. Miracles, you brought this up. And the fact is, this issue has always been an issue. But you've thrown it in the limelight, and I congratulate you. So, great. I'm glad you are pointing this out to us now. In the meantime, the other side too, you two say you understand all of this is part of the process and we understand everything that is going on. This is all the politics. That's why I say partisan politics, they say, what is the root cause of this and how do we fix this? On the NPP side, let me say this. Please, I beg you, in all fairness, this is a long-standing issue, and you know it. But it doesn't mean that when you have the time to hit hard and turn it into a political agenda, you shouldn't. So I understand you. To the NDC, you do the same thing. This is a long-standing issue, and you know it. But let me go further with NDC and tell you something. That's why I say you should be guided by the saying that we were talking about when we were kids. Before you think, I have thought. Knowing the nature of our politics and the nature that another person will always want to take power and vice versa, always be on the standby, because every time the other party is in the lookout for things that they can say that will help derail your movement. But if you think, before you think, I have thought. If you have thought, then certain things will be different. Why am I saying all of this? Look, now the minority is calling for the Randy Abbey, they are calling for your head.
All of this has come about because of the reset that Cocoa Board did. And that is why, respectfully, we ask the president to relieve the Cocoa Board CEO of his responsibilities at this point in time.
Yes, let's do it with you. Because you are not only the solution, you are a major part of the problem. Now, let me hear what you're saying, because this is what you have been saying lately. Listen to Randy Abbey.
I inherited a debt of 32.91 billion for cocoa roads alone. There were contracts of 26.5 billion were signed. 21.5 billion of this 26.5 billion were signed in just 3 years. 19, 20, 21. Just 3 years. 21.5 billion.
So we hear you. You came to inherit debt. There was a lot of debt that was bequeathed unto you. Randy, you're saying this maybe 1 year too late. Before you inherited power and you realized what you have been bequeathed, this is when you have started talking about some of the amazing difficulties that you're facing and how you intend to fix them and the possible problems that will come out of it. And if before you think, I have thought. You think through these things, Mr. Randy Abbey. You don't react to them. Think through them. This is what I inherited. You're telling us about all the debt and blah, 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 blah. Yo yati. But it's like what? 1 year later? That's why the other time I came and I told the NDC Communication Authority that you are all asleep. And I realized that you are not too happy with those facts, that I say you are all asleep. I know the president had an emergency meeting. There was an emergency cabinet meeting. So you went to cabinet and made some quick decisions, for which I thank Miracles. Whether I agree with you or not, if you hadn't shaken the system with your needs, maybe we wouldn't have had an emergency meeting. But to the government, I'm saying you only had the emergency meeting because you forgot one key thing. Before you think, I have thought. You forgot about certain fundamental things that you inherited that were going to come in the way. Level with Ghanaians. Level with us. Let us know the extent of damage that we've inherited. I had one time Randy saying there was no need to talk about the dead, blah, 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 because it is something that they've inherited, and the challenge is to fix what you have inherited.
Year end 2024. Okay. So that is then what I took over, what I inherited. I mean, had a debt of 32.9 billion cedis. 32.9 billion cedis. Cocoa Board had a negative equity of 3.8 billion. End of year 2016, Cocoa Board had a positive equity of about 1.8 billion. 2024 year end, negative equity of 3.8 billion, almost 3.9 billion, which presupposes says that Cocoa Board's liabilities were more than its assets by close to 4 billion. The first time in the history of the 79-year-old company. Next year, Cocoa Board will be 80 years. So this is what we inherited. We inherited a cocoa road exposure of 26 billion cedis. It's been quite challenging, but I think that I need to also justify the confidence reposed in me by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, and so I also have resolved to ensure that together with the team and the board, and of course my sector minister and his ministry, will be able to turn things around.
I understand you, and I big you up for having the idea that what the important thing is to fix what you have inherited. But it is easy to fix what you have inherited if the people of Ghana know from the day you inherited that this is the mess I've inherited. Simple, you know, make it would have been much easier ahead of time. So this is what we have inherited, and be frank with it. You know, and to miracles, I remember when Baumia was the vice president. This Cocoa Board thing goes way back then. Crisis had come. Even then, they're talking about the collapse of the cocoa industry and the Cocoa Board and all that. I want to hear a little bit of what Baumia's response was.
Cocoa Board is on the verge of collapse. I'm not aware of that, but we'll look at that. I cannot comment on that. It's not.
So you heard him. Now this is nothing. This is just to show all of us Ghanaians that there's been some crap that we have been dealing with as a nation, and somehow NPP or NDC, we didn't really grab it by the bullhorn and tackle it. And unfortunately for you, NDC, I bet you should move home. And I'm glad that you've had your emergency meeting and you've decided certain things and steps you have taken. It's not for me to educate Ghanaians on what you have taken. Mopa, Ato Forsen, the cabinet minister, you take it upon yourself and do what you have to do. But it's not my position. You know what this is? Cocoa Wars is causing. For me, it's very sad though. And that's why I say at the beginning, Charlie, things have started well. So please, let's stay on track. It will be very sad if things will go on very well for 1 year and then all of a sudden crazy things start happening to affect the flow of the goodness. No more goodness, no flow. That's all I've been saying, you know. And please understand too that as much as you want the goodness to flow, there are also people who do not want the goodness to flow. It all boils down to our politics and who wants power and who doesn't. But anyway, let's move on. All these cocoa wars which have taken the attention, people are missing out on the fact that positive things are happening. One of the good things happening in Ghana is the exchange rate stability. Master who be that. Never before in our history have we had this level of exchange rate stability. All I'm saying is that this is what we should be celebrating. I'm not saying ignore the other things, but I'm saying at the center of everything should be the positive things that we should be celebrating. And also reminding ourselves that there are other things too that consider urgent attention. But I'm saying that because of how things are going, nobody is paying attention. From the Automobile Dealers Union to announce that they are giving 15% reduction. Why? Because of the exchange rate stability. So all of you who have automobiles that have been imported have come in, tell a 50% reduction. No, it has never happened before. It's good news. You know the problem is people were complaining that we don't see anything happening. We hear the CD rate is improving, but here's the thing. We have lived so long under governments where when the CD was appreciating it to be just a few weeks or less than a week, then to go back up. It would diminish, go back up. So it wasn't stable. And that is why it was not affecting prices. If I'm a businessman and you come to me, I'm not going to reduce my prices automatically just because no. Why? Because I'm afraid it's going to bounce back up. So the volatility, that's why prices were going up and down. People didn't want to reduce their prices immediately. We had to stay put. So I'm saying that once we stayed put for about a year, that even automobile dealers have noticed that there's some kind of stability, and this is what is giving them the confidence to reduce prices at 15%. The sustained stability. This is what we all should be fighting for. So it's not a 9-day wonder. So I'm saying to all of us who are worried that things are not coming down as fast, let's give it time. Let the economy be comfortable. Say, now things have changed and the change is permanent. This change is going to be sustained. When that happens, it will automatically affect everything else. Trust me. Another 6 months plus of this stability, you will realize that even issues like rent, you start seeing some small improvements and overnight. So please, I'm saying this, folks, that this announcement simply suggests that there's a feeling and a new confidence that the price stability, the exchange rate has, the price has stabled. So based on that, we can give you a discount. So it's good news. That's why I'm saying it is quite sad that at this time, that's when we have the cocoa wars. But cocoa is so important that if it should come up, let it come up and let us all, as a serious country, address this. Honestly, this is some free advice that I'll give to gendarmes. Oh, the gendarmes coming plenty. True or not true, I hear that Randy Abbey, he's using the funds from Cocoa Board. He's now building a new mansion or whatever. Not building a mansion, but renovating his place.
Ekadaho, Muntio, Ekadaho, and so Cocoa Board CEO, a far Cocoa Board Sika, acquire renovation when if ye.
Miracles, this is one thing that's going to help you. We're not evidence account. Bring some pictures. Bring something to show Ghana for say, Randy Abbey has this money, certain things, he has this money, and on the year renovation. Saying it's cheap. I also heard that you said that the Cocoa Board or the government has now imported 150,000 new vehicles, whatever it is.
Ekadaho, and so a byway, Akoto Land Cruisers, Makumako 10. Ekadaho, and so a byway, Akoto pickups, and Makumako 110. I'm on the Juma 4.
Evidence, master. That's the level we are at. We can't approve. Now, you know, if you bring that evidence on this show, I showcase. Say Cocoa Board or so for bad people. Here are the 150 VAs that they have ordered. The will show you so. because we want to build this nation and we want to protect the truth and protect the integrity of our discussion, wherever it's coming from. And if you haven't noticed, you should know by now that this show is evidence-based, man. When we see the evidence, we will show it. Why not? Whether it's for or against government, for or against opposition, once there's evidence to show, we will show it. Because truth crashed to earth shall always rise again. So I mean, this is just free advice. Let's focus on building this nation. Naya bread. Masa, can you imagine living in a nation today? The automobile dealers have announced a reduction. Tomorrow, the house owners will announce their reduction in rent. But next day, those who sell whatever it is, building materials, they've said already, also announced a reduction. Wouldn't this be a great country to live in? Where we all actually start feeling and appreciating that things are improving and there's deflation. We will all be happy. So what is preventing us from going and shooting for that? Before you think, I have thought. So that has to be the guiding principle for all the NDC communication people. You know what you're up against. And there are people who do everything that they can to bring you down. But if you're doing the right thing and staying the right course, then there's no reason you should be brought down. But before they think, you should have thought and realized that let's fix it. I hear Ato Forcing had some explanation to give, and let me give a chance for all of us to listen to what Ato Forcing had to say.
The world market price has dropped significantly from the average of 7,200 tons to 4,100 per ton, making Ghana's cocoa beans uncompetitive and creating liquidity challenges. To address this, the Producer Price Review Committee, PPRC, met this afternoon under my chairmanship to assess the challenges facing the sector and review the producer price for the remainder of the 2025-2026 crop year. In order to cushion the farmer, the PPRC has recommended that the farmer be paid 90% of the achieved gross FOB of $4,200 per ton to mitigate the adverse impact on the farmer as a result of the fall in the world market price. As a result of that, the PPRC thereby announces that effective today, Thursday, 12 February 2026, the new producer price for the remainder of the 2025-2026 crop season will now be 41,392 Ghana cedis per ton and 2,587 Ghana cedis per bag. This measure has become necessary to reflect the reality of the world market price of cocoa, ensure the injection of immediate liquidity for expedited payment of farmers, and guarantee the sustainability of our cocoa sector.
So folks, this is how I'm ending. Cocoa was, whether good or bad, whether true or false, they have come. You have heard from both opinions. Whatever it is, they hear me and say the Minister of Finance have come to say that we had an emergency cabinet meeting and these decisions are being taken so that once and for all we'll stop bleeding our cocoa industry because of people's greed and theft. And when they hear me, because at the end of the day, once that is sealed, then it means that the nation can finally keep on track and keep going forward. And as I always say this, so long as I see the evidence that change is coming, I have no choice but to support and make sure that we stay on track so that I can always end this show. You know, I used to end this show and say, Ghana will rise again. Now I can happily say that, let's soldier on. Why? Because Ghana is rising again.